What's happening YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing your number one mistake in your military preparation for joining the military. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to discuss military standards, what they are now, and how the fitness test is changing. Then we're going to get into why I think you're prepping for the military all wrong. So the fitness test. So if we go back to 2012 when I first joined, I'm not trying to be like, oh, back in my day it was harder. Absolutely not. I just want to go back to when I first joined. It was 2 minutes best effort of press-ups, 2 minutes best effort of sit-ups. You did a 2.4 kilometre run, and that was it. Now, we also had the AFT, which was an 8-miler carrying 25 kilo. But I just want to specifically concentrate on the PFA/SCR. So that was the PFA. You had 10 minutes 30 to run the PFA in, so to run the mile and a half in. That was if you were male. If you were female, you had slightly longer. And if you were older, you had slightly longer. Fast forward to 2019, the SCR came out. Now, this is where it changed slightly, and I do like the SCR because it tests different elements of fitness, so strength, cardio, anaerobic, all that good stuff. But this came out in 2019, and you'll see how it's quite different. There's 6 stations overall, and this is how it ran. Broad jump, so you'd be in a standing position, jump as far forward as possible. Seated med ball throw, we just talked about this before in the past, back against a wall or a horse box. Med ball, chest height, throw it as far as you can. The hex bar deadlift, and you do a maximum of 10 reps, try and figure out your 1RM. 100 meter shuttle sprints, so you do 5 times 20 meter shuttles, and this was just for time. Pull-ups, this was usually to a PTI timing. I feel like this was a bit of a grey area because they weren't really marked towards anything. There wasn't a minimum. And I used to even have arguments with officers about, oh, if you attempt to pull up, you get half a mark. No. Fucking bollocks. And then you had the 2 kilometre run. Differences with the 2 kilometre run were, because this was age and gender free, even though you ran 400 metres less, everyone had an extra 2.5 minutes to run it in. Anywho, inside information has told me, shout out to you, that this will be changing within the next 6 months. Now, if you are currently a serving soldier, you'll probably already know about this, or you'll know something briefly about it, but it's changing again in the next 6 months. What's going to be different? So this test isn't really too different. There's a couple of elements that have been removed. There's a couple that have entered. But you're going to start off with a 2 kilometre run. I don't know if the timings are changing at all. I don't know if they're still going to have 13 minutes or 30 minutes 10 to run it in. But you're going to start off with the 2 kilometre run. You're then going to move on to the hex bar deadlift, and they're going to have set weights. You'll conduct 3 reps at each weight, and you'll keep going up the weights until you are fatigued or can't hit the 3 reps. You're then going to go into, and I'm quite, for some reason, I don't know why, but I'm quite happy these are back in. But you're going to do 1 minute best effort of press-ups. You're then going to do as many pull-ups as possible. And they don't know, how this is going to be ran is to be confirmed at the minute, apparently. But they're still deciding on whether they're going to do to a bleep, or to a beep, rather, like the Royal Marines do, or if it'll be like PTI timings. Personally, I don't think the PTI timings really work just because everyone's different. We all say it at different speeds, and I've seen it many times before. I don't think they're going to go for PTI timings, really, but that will be confirmed. I'm talking about, like, I'm still in, and I'm going to have to do this. Absolutely not. When it comes to the standards, it will vary on your cap badge, and it'll also vary on your trade. Anywho, so that ticks off all the variants of fitness tests that they've done in the past. Now, someone out there might watch this and call me out for, well, back in my day, I don't give a shit. I was just going from when I first joined all the way through to now. But where are you going wrong in your military preparation? Firstly, I want to say that I know I am a small channel. I know that my presence online is not particularly big. If I'm being honest, I still find it absolutely mad that 3.2 thousand people follow me on Instagram. I mean, TikTok I think is a bit of a weird one, but it's still 1.8k on there. And I've got 400 people subscribed to this channel. And to me, those numbers even now seem really fucking mental. I just can't believe there's people out there that want to listen to me and they value what I say, and that's class. And I love all the comments that I'm getting and all the people I have helped pass the assessment centre, or they've been following my videos and it's helped with their training, it's made them better. That is just awesome. But the number one thing that pisses me off in my DMs is when someone opens up with, what's the minimum I've got to achieve to get, and usually it's a regiment, or something along those lines, or to pass the assessment centre, and it really pisses me off. You should never ever be aiming for that minimum standard. It's the lowest possible standard for a reason. And if you are looking at doing something like the emergency services, whether it's police, or even, like, you know, and even with the army, you should never be aiming for the fucking minimum. When you look at the job role that you're going to do, why would you want to be that unfit. Because running 2 kilometers in 13 minutes 10 is, and this is just an opinion, terrible. Fucking terrible. And if you are joining the police force, and I've seen their fitness standards that you need to in order to get into the force, again, ridiculous. You wanted to chase people down the fucking streets, and you need to get like a level 6 beep test. Stupid. I just don't understand people's mindset. And I don't understand why, when you want to do something that's as brilliant as joining the army or joining the emergency service, which are all fantastic things, I don't know why you wouldn't want to be at your top performance. I am not saying that you need to be the finished product. I am not saying that you need to be Superman. I just don't know why, especially when you're joining the military, why you'd want to be going into basic training, always continuously hanging out your ass. I was that guy. When I was 17 years old, I tried to join the Royal Marines and I failed the endurance course on PRMC. I was very underprepared when it came to my cardio. I'm not going to lie, I do feel that the 3 days down at Limpston were worse than my 14 weeks in Burbright. However, I was very underprepared. And even when I got to phase 1 training at Burbright, my phys still wasn't at a good enough standard. I used to always run a 10:25 mile and a half. But before that, the preparation I did was shite. I just wish that there was something like social media around when I first joined, because I would have taken those tips and advice, because all I had was the internet and doing my own research, and to be honest, there wasn't a lot of information out there. But I was that guy. I used to aim for the minimum. I don't know why, I don't know when my mindset changed, but I have been that person. And I sit here making it out as if like I've always been that guy that doesn't aim for the minimum, but I actually have. I used to be super skinny, I used to be super light, and my mindset used to be shit. My phys was shocking, and I just became scared of PT, and I don't know why. I look back now and I think, fucking hell, I don't know what happened, but I was scared of phys, and I don't know why. And I don't want that for anyone that joins. You should never be scared of doing a bit of green phys. You should never worry about picking up a log. You should never worry about going on a steady state run. But I have genuinely seen soldiers sit there worrying about what phys is the next day. They used to come to me in the block and be like, what's phys for tomorrow? Genuinely worrying about what they're about to do. And I just don't see how living a life like that is good. Like, why would you want to panic about a bit of phys? Don't get me wrong, there are some really hard sessions out there, especially if it's battle PT, you know, log stretchers, obs course. They can be really fucking cheeky. So you want to be putting yourself in the best possible position where you can perform as well as you can. The minimum standard is literally the lowest the bar can be to enable you to join the military. And in my personal opinion, if you think that is acceptable, you need to have a long, hard look at yourself and think, do I even really want to join the military? But when it comes to preparing for the military, you know, I always say this. The assessment centre is a stepping stone. Your end goal is to be in the military. It's not to pass the assessment centre. So that is a stepping stone. So you need to get ready for that. And you need to be able to pass that to a good standard. Then you've got to look at the next step, basic training. You should be training for basic training, in my opinion, not the assessment centre. Making sure you get yourself to a decent standard, so when you get to basic training, you're not always hanging out your back hoop. When it comes to structure, this is how I would do it. The top thing that I would do is get me as a coach. That's exactly what I would do, because I will help prepare you get to basic training. Or if you just need some structure to your life and you can't afford a coach, this is exactly what I would be doing. I'll be doing 2 upper body sessions a week. I'll be doing 2 lower body sessions a week. But one of those lower body sessions, I would be focusing more on single leg strength. Think about how when you be taking knees, when you be climbing over walls, or even when you're running, there's a lot of singular leg stuff that's going to be happening. So that's why I always say to throw in some single leg strength work. I'll be doing as a minimum 2 cardio sessions a week. One of those would be intervals and the other one would be an endurance session. With the intervals, it doesn't necessarily have to be running. It could be on the rowing machine, it could be on the ski machine, it could be on the bike. Non-impact PT is also good because it helps save all that stress on your joints. Endurance run, I'd be looking at doing a 45 to 50 minute run a week, maybe 60 minute run a week at a zone 2 pace, because zone 2, you hear me say it all the time, will help build that stamina. It'll enable you to be fitter, run for longer. But that's what I would be doing as a minimum in order to prepare for the military. So that there is just a foundation of what you could be working on. If you've got any questions about it, please drop me a message, put a comment down below, and I'll try and answer it as best as I can. But stop aiming for the minimum standard. It doesn't make you look better, you'll turn up unprepared, and who the fuck wants to be like everybody else? Who wants to be average? No one. Anywho, this is quite a long video, I think. Hopefully it all makes sense, because as I've been making this, I'm like, have I missed bits out? I don't know. But hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, and until next time, see you later.